2022 has been crazy. It's been hectic. Too much has happened. Michelle Beadle joins the show to talk about what happened and maybe rank the top 5 of what she thought the best moments were. Plus, the college football playoffs are coming up. Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU. Who's meeting up in the finals? I'm joined by the crew from CFB today to discuss it. And of course, Thursday night football. It might suck tonight, but that's why you want to bet it. We are The Spread, brought to you by OddsChecker. Let's run the tape. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on The Spread on this Thursday evening as we get set for New Year's. We're joined by half of the Morning Edge. It's John Hyslop, aka SlopRules, aka everyone's favorite Twitter gambler. John, I know you're missing your co-pilot here. Of course, you can always watch Dead Prez Picks and SlopRules every single morning on OddsChecker TV for the Morning Edge. John, I wish we could say we had a good game to watch today, but Cowboys and Titans is gonna suck, right?
Yeah, it's not gonna be good. Before we talk about it, though, I'm gonna say, hey Matt, if you're watching, we miss you. Just call us, text us, tweet us, do something. At some point, let us know you're all right. But anyways, this game seriously is gonna be awful. Like, we haven't really seen this before because it's the first time we've ever really had like week 18 or whatever it is now. There's such thing as resting guys, I guess, the game before the last game. So then you could play that and win and get in. So it's kind of a new thing. But here's the thing, though, Matias. Mm-hmm. We've been watching Thursday Night Football for like how long now? So there's no chance we're just not going to have action at 8 o'clock on Thursday because pretty soon we're not going to have this at all. So there's that to think about. I mean, there's a lot. Like, this isn't easy. This is not for the faint of heart. So what I'm thinking about doing, and this might seem a little ridiculous, I'm going to bet the first half of this game. That way I'm completely out of it before the 9 o'clock game starts. I think the Alamo Bowl starts at 9 o'clock. It's Washington and Texas. So I can just watch that. That'll be my Thursday night football with like all the gambling. But I also had action at 8 o'clock. What do you think of that?
Okay, I like that, honestly. Just like, regardless of how the bet goes, obviously you hope it's a win, but you're done. Yeah. You're not handicapped to this. You're not handcuffed to this game. I mean, let's give a little context on why this game sucks. Obviously, the Cowboys are really good. The Titans are really bad. Ryan Tannehill's not playing in this game. Derrick Henry has a mystery, injury that he's not playing in this game. And like John said, the Titans and Jags are playing for the AFC South crown. This game does not mean anything. So whoever wins in Week 18, which is obviously new in the NFL, is who's going to go to the playoffs because the Titans, although I think mathematically can still get a wild card spot, they're not going to. So again, there is quite literally nothing to play for. The Cowboys still have some to play for because they're trying to take the number 1 seed in the NFC and, just overall, division spot from the Eagles. But more or less, the Cowboys don't have that much to play for. They have been fantastic on the road against the spread. They're 11-4 in their last 15. This line, as of yesterday, was at 10 and then 10.5. And right now it's plus 12.5 for the Titans. The total is 39.5. Before we get into your picks, just how are you feeling about that? Because that is a big number and a low total.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, it's uncharted waters. I mean, normally, you know what to do in that situation, but we're talking about a team who literally is, resting starters for the playoffs, basically, even though they're not in the playoffs. Does that make sense? So, next week is their playoffs, because next week it's win or it's over, right? So the playoffs literally start for the time. They're literally going as this is a rest week. Next week's the playoffs. So they're not going to expose anybody. If you look at their injury report, it is crazy who's not playing. So none of their metrics from the season matter. None at all. Zero. Less than that, actually, because they actually have backups. So, Jeffrey Simmons is out. He's huge. He's a defensive tackle. He was a run stop. He's out. Bud Dupree, Derrick Henry. You name it. The quarterback. He was out already, but anyways, but he's in there too. He's out. So It's tough. So you want to know what I'm going to do with it?
Hit me.
I was gonna take some Cowboys offensive players, but then here's the thing: what if they start beating them down? And
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy. What you do is you take the Cowboys team total over 13.5. That's in the first half, minus 120. That's at DraftKings, and then you watch until they score 2 touchdowns. In the first, because they're going to score 2 touchdowns in the first half. They've done it in every single game in December. They've gone over this number. The Cowboys have. That's 4 games in a row. They're starting fast. They're doing what they do. But the Titans, on teams that are actually decent, like they played the Texans, they didn't get there, and someone else didn't get there. But earlier this month, the Eagles got there. I think they had like 21 in the first half on like the real Titans. So there is precedent to this. I think the next game against the Jaguars, they gave up 20 plus in the first half. And again, that was the real Titans. So the backup Titans, the ones that don't care about tonight, they're just trying not to get hurt. They're probably going to get steamrolled in the beginning. I'm not saying 30 something, not like that, but they could score 2 touchdowns, Matias. Like that's it, first half.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that.
Pretty right.
I think that kind of protects us from what you said about, you'd love to take, CeeDee Lamb receiving yards, but you're like, okay, what if it is 28-0 in the first half and Malik Willis throws a pick 6 and you're like, all right, this isn't happening. I mean, the Cowboys don't need to keep their starters in either if they're just crushing them.
Exactly. And then on top of it, you just watch till the Cowboys score their 2 touchdowns, and then you can just flip the channel and go over to the Alamo Bowl, and that should cover you till about midnight. So, I mean, this all makes sense.
And, of course, another shameless plug. John's got some awesome picks up on the site already, MyOC Premium, and free picks as well for the Alamo Bowl and for every game that's going on tonight. Personally, I kind of like the over here. I just think that there's going to be just a backdoor late score by the Titans when they are getting beat down. And they'll push it over. 39.5 is just too low for me right now. The Cowboys themselves could reach like 28, 31, one of those numbers just by themselves. I wanted to get your opinion. I got a couple of popular picks according to BetMGM. Like we go through every week, we're going to fade the public or we're going to ride with the public. You tell me your favorite or your worst one, whatever you choose. So for our 3 today, we have Zeke first-time touchdown score at plus 400, staying on that train for him to score at any time at minus 155. And what we talked about just now, CeeDee Lamb over 71.5 receiving yards, minus 115. Again, all of those the most popular bets on BetMGM. What are you feeling?
All right, so with one anytime touchdown, you might as well just play the lotto. The first touchdown, just play the lottery instead. It's much better payoff, probably better odds too. And then the anytime probably is going to happen. Pollard they're probably not going to risk him too much. I bet. And again, with Tennessee, this is not the same run defense that all the metrics that people are looking at. Oh, they're a run defense. That this is not them. Like they're not playing. So he could easily score, but again, minus 155 to do that, like no thanks. So by process of elimination, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, to be honest with you, he could do it. The thing is, what you just said earlier, though, was what scares me. A Malik Willis pick 6 or just some rando touchdown that kind of gets the beatdown going, and have it not be CeeDee Lamb, like before CeeDee Lamb can really get involved. That could be a problem. With that being said, though, the Titans, they give up receiving yards like it's their job. I mean, only 2 teams are worse in the NFL. To wide receivers, which CeeDee Lamb's a receiver, so it applies here. But the Lions and Vikings are the only team that are worse in that metric. So they are no strangers to letting.
I didn't hear that.
What's that?
What team was that first team? I didn't hear that.
The Lions and Vikings.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make
sure.
Yeah,
well, I mean, that's how we get shootouts going. Like the Detroit Lions, they play exciting football. Exciting football.
They're the people.
Everybody can get them. Yeah, they're good people. So, you got that going. CeeDee Lamb could get loose. I mean, he's had 120 receiving yards in 2 games. Like, they're starting to kind of really do the aces and places thing where they're peppering him with targets. I mean, he is their guy, and then it's all the other ones. It's not like they have a bunch of good receivers. It's him and everyone else. So, I could see him going over 71.5. That's not that crazy.
I know you have some other picks. I just wanted to ask you real quick because obviously this number has jumped for the spread. It's again plus 12.5 at time of recording here for the Titans. According to DraftKings, 82% of the handle came in on Dallas, 74% of the handle on the over, 90% on the money line, and that's when it was 10.5. Now, a lot of the people were betting it when it was at 10.5. 12.5 is a very different number. Is this just a stay away from you, or?
Yeah, I mean, you have to because I mean, I guess there are like parallel universes where the Titans do make this a game. I mean, I guess that could happen, but at the same time, I mean, it was a big win last week for the Cowboys over the Eagles, so there is that. You know what I mean? Like they could be on a high. I mean, if you believe in letdown spots, I mean, I guess that could happen, but at the same time, again, like starters are just not playing for Tennessee. Like that seems. I mean, I don't know. On a normal week, maybe you do back the Titans 12.5.
Yeah, just it's I don't know how much I want to trust Malik Willis, but John, I don't
No.
want to talk about this game anymore. There's too much exciting stuff just going on tonight. Then why don't we give the people what they want? You got a bonus pick up your sleeve for anything else going on tonight?
Dude, the Alamo Bowl. I'm telling you, if you like football, watch it. That's going to be awesome. It's Texas and Washington. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be 9 o'clock at night, too. They're playing in a dome, so we don't have to worry about weather. Like, I mean, this game could end up being a track meet, if I'm right. But I'm going to take the Texas receiving core, so I'm just picking names out of a hat because all three of them should go over their total. I'm sorry, the tight end and then two receivers. But Jordan Whittingham, number 4 for Texas. His total is like 54.5 at FanDuel. I think it's higher than that now at DraftKings. So definitely beware the book on that one. Like I think it's way higher. I think it's like 70 something at DraftKings. So do it at FanDuel. But this guy, he's going to get peppered with targets. I bet you he goes over 10 targets, maybe even 15. Washington should score all over Texas. So this is going to create a shootout. Both Texas running backs opted out, and that's what they did this year was run. So there's really no metric you can look at from this season and be like, hey, yeah, this is what they're going to do because their offense has to be changed. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, they literally ran the ball all the time. There was games where one guy, Robinson, had like 200 rushing yards, and the other guy, I think it was Johnson, had like 100 rushing yards in a game. Like think about that. So that's gone. So that's over there. Like, that's not going to happen again. And now they have to keep up with Washington. The Texas target tree is more like a branch, but they have 3 guys they throw to. Like, that's it. So I don't know. Like they should all put up numbers that we just haven't seen them do before just because that's not, the kind of offense they ran. And again, like I said, being involved in a game with Washington, who they cannot stop a passing attack at all, and they're going to score themselves. This is going to create an environment that it's just going to be a lot of fun to have the Texas receivers in.
So take our advice. Watch the first half of Thursday Night Football. Turn that off. Do what you got to do. And then head over to the Alamo Bowl. And again, you can get all of John's picks, whether it's My OC Premium, which you can sign up for less than $1 per day. So instead of getting that pizza slice, get My OC Premium. With the ROI, we've already paid tenfold. I think it's 12 years or something like that for your membership if you had signed up from the get-go. And we have a 1-week free trial as well. The link is in the description below to get all of John's best picks for tonight and for every single day. John, appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks, Matias.
We're going to switch over now. We're going to stay on the gridiron, but we're going to take a little detour because we have college football playoffs coming up this weekend. It's been bowl season. Alex Kirshner and Joey Ruiz have had your picks on CFB today all season long. Here they are to talk about the semifinals. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining the spread today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Let's just get a vibe check real quick on bowl season. I mean, we've had UConn in it, which is weird enough as is. Yesterday's games were just absolutely nuts. Have you guys been enjoying the action so far?
I've enjoyed some bowl games more than others. I think that's the case every year when there's 40, 41, 42 of these things. But this is the week really right now that we're in where you get most of the best teams playing. There are some here and there great ones earlier on. I loved when UTSA played Troy in the Cure Bowl. That was one of my favorite games of the year. But you're getting a lot of 6 and 6s and 7 and 5s earlier on in December. you get into this week and you're seeing really good teams play really good teams. And call me crazy, but I like that.
Hot take, apparently. What about you, Joey? You got an early front runner for a favorite bowl game so far?
I think the quality has been okay so far. My favorite
Mhm.
bowl game was probably the Texas Tech Ole Miss game last night. That game was very interesting, entertaining to watch. But I think, like what Alex said, the quality of the games is about to really step up as we get the college football playoff matchups and some of these better teams with the better matchups that we've been watching all season. So I'm looking forward to this next week of college football.
And there are a lot of games to get to, and you can watch CFB today. It's on our YouTube page already to get the analysis for a lot of those games. But we have to jump into the two biggest games for this week. As much as we might care about other games, and it's weird to say, Alabama is not on center stage this week. We're going to start with the Fiesta Bowl. Both of these games are happening on Saturday. It's TCU and Michigan. Obviously, a crazy season for the Horned Frogs to get to this point. But Michigan is a 7.5-point favorite. Alex, I'll start with you. First off, I'll ask, did anything kind of jump out to you as being weird in terms of total, money line, or spread? And then just tell me, where you're rocking for this game.
No, everything seems about right to me here. It's what you'd expect when you have one of the most explosive offenses in the country, with a more good than great defense in TCU's case, and a really powerful team on both sides of the ball, but one that likes to run the ball. So you're not going to get a total in the 70s for a game like this, but you're also not going to get one of those Iowa or Service Academy totals down in the 30s or 40s. I think that you're going to see, a medium temp if we're talking about how we would cook this steak in the Fiesta Bowl between TCU and Michigan. In the way of a pick, though, I like Michigan in this game, laying 7.5. That's a tough number. Joe and I talked about this on CFB today. No one likes picking 7.5 on the exact wrong side of the key number. But I just think that as you look at the different paths that this game could take, there are many more paths that involve Michigan winning this thing pretty comfortably than there are paths for TCU to keep it really tight at the end and have a chance to win. Certainly the trench advantage on both sides of the ball is going to be with Michigan in this game. Certainly you would imagine that Michigan is going to be able to run the ball against TCU's defense, even without Blake Corum, their Heisman contending running back. Donovan Edwards has done just fine, his quote-unquote backup, but he's really a starting caliber running back for just about any team in the country. So I think that Michigan just has more ways of baking this cake and winning this game by a touchdown plus, and obviously the plus is important at 7.5. It's dangerous because I think you can look at TCU and see the explosive plays. You could imagine Quentin Johnston doing what he's done all year, the excellent wide receiver who wears number 1 in purple, and causing Michigan some problems. But that's one outcome here. And there are at least 3 or 4 shapes of this game that just favor Michigan, I think, pretty drastically. So I like the Wolverines.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think just in terms of controlling the pace and just being that second half team that they're capable of being, I think the magical run for TCU probably ends this weekend. What about you, Joey? What are you thinking here? How you feeling about the plus 7.5? You maybe gearing a little more towards the money line, maybe looking at that total.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Alex said. Me and Alex have agreed on a lot of games and angles this season. I think Michigan plays a different style in the Big Ten compared to what TCU has seen and played against in the Pac-12, in the Big 12, excuse me. The Big 12, they give up a lot of yards and they give up a lot of points. It is an offensive-based conference. TCU has had a very explosive offense this season, but TCU, while they've played good in the underdog role, they give up a lot of points, they give up a lot of yards, and they find themselves down in games a lot. I know they won against Kansas State in the first matchup of the season, but they were down by a lot. They were down by a lot in the Big 12 championship where they ended up losing to Kansas State and they came back. I do not see them being able to go down early and come back like they have all season. they're not going to be able to run the ball and rack up yards against this Michigan front seven that has been stout the entire season. The one thing that does concern me about TCU from an offensive perspective is Duggan's ability to run the ball and get out of the pocket and make things happen with his legs. I think if TCU is going to keep this game close, that it's going to be because Duggan runs for 80 to 100 yards and he's escaping on third down. But I just don't see how TCU is going to be able to move the ball and create offense. I do think this is going to be a bit of a higher scoring game, though. With that being said, Michigan should be able to run the ball, do what they want to do, stay ahead of the sticks. I have Michigan winning this game by around 11 points. I think I'm rolling with Michigan minus 7.5. I had this at like a 38-27 final, but I'm rolling with Michigan on minus 7.5.
I heard you mention, you kind of, the vibes are kind of pulling you towards the over there, or just the fact that there might be a good amount of points. Are you confident enough to take it?
Yeah, I'll probably take it myself for a unit. I do feel more confident in the Michigan spread, as like you could see like a 31-17 type game where there's just not a lot of offense and Michigan just kind of dominates in a boring type game. But I also could see a same scenario like the Ohio State game where Michigan just rolled off a bunch of big plays in the second half. They've been a second half team all year. That's why I'm rolling with the full game as opposed to the first half. And I just think this could be a higher scoring game due to the explosive run game from both sides. But so, yeah, I will put a unit on the over as well.
Okay, and perfect transition as you were talking about Ohio State, and no pressure for any of us because we all took Michigan to cover. What could go wrong, right? Let's go over to the Peach Bowl. We have Georgia, the defending champions, and Ohio State. Right now, Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite. Before we get to any of the numbers, I do want to give you a couple of interesting stats here. I'll ask you first, Joey, what you're thinking about this game. The Bulldogs 4-0 against the spread as a 20-point or less favorite this season, 3-0 against the spread against ranked teams. They average 42 points in those games. But OSU, as an underdog in the college football playoff era, is 6-2 against the spread. So kind of some interesting numbers pulling us either way. Joey, a lot of people have said this game is a little harder to predict just because of the upside of OSU's offense. What are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, I feel like I have a pretty good read on this game. We've got a very high total for Georgia games. Georgia has an elite defense. They've had pretty much the best defense in the country this season and last season. They have 5-star recruits all over the field, first round, second round talent all over the field. I'm not sure Ohio State is going to be able to move the ball like they have all season. And Ohio State has actually been fairly inconsistent all season. Ohio State has gotten a lot of love from the polls and writers and college football analysts, but really they've had a mediocre season by their standpoints. They haven't blown out a lot of opponents. They've played fairly bad against the better opponents. We saw them get blown out by Michigan. But I'm going to roll with the under in this game at under 62 or 62.5 at whatever number you can get. I do not see Ohio State racking up a lot of points on this Georgia defense. CJ Stroud is a very good quarterback, but he lacks the running ability to escape the pocket and create with his legs. He just hasn't done it all season. He was unable to do it against Michigan, and I think that was his downfall this year and last year as well. And UGA is a very deliberate offense. They love to run the ball. They love to establish the run. They do have big plays, but it comes within the flow of their offense. They take what the defense will give them. I think Ohio State is going to try to keep everything in front of them and make Georgia go down the field on long 10, 11-play scoring drives. So I think the under 62 or 62.5 is a great look for this game.
Yeah, you mentioned just the ability to get out of the pocket and make plays. Not exactly a hot take here, but both of these teams have looked really good when they can keep clean pockets, and it's mostly been a clean pocket for both of these guys all season. Alex, what about you? What are you thinking here? Spread, total, money line? Where are you rocking?
No, I see this just like Joe. I like the under as well. Obviously, like it a half point more at 62.5 than at 62, but feel pretty good about it at either of those numbers. And I think what you're saying about pocket presence and about quarterbacks being comfortable in clean pockets, I think could also come into play in this game. If it gets a little bit shootout-y, obviously that wouldn't be what we want when we have the under, but I think even in that event, that's not really Stetson Bennett's bag, the Georgia quarterback. He's had a fantastic run there. I'm no longer in the business of doubting this guy, but a shootout that gets into somewhere in the mid-20s with some, third, fourth quarter touchdown trading drives from these teams, I think could also become something that comes to a halt when someone throws an interception or when these offenses just kind of slow down because Ohio State is a little bit more geared to play that way than Georgia is. But the biggest reason that I see it like Joe does is that I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's just Georgia's defense. And we all know what they are. And they might have a couple fewer guys this year than last who really horrify you as an offensive coordinator when you look on the tape. Last year, say maybe they had 3, 4. This year, it's Jalen Carter and company, the excellent defensive tackle that they have. But I just think that, again, like we look at the paths, the different outcomes that this game could take, the different shapes of it. And all of the likeliest ones are that Georgia's defense really makes this tough on Ohio State's offense. And that's all due respect to C.J. Stroud, who's going to have a great NFL career and has had a really good college career. Certainly to Marvin Harrison Jr., I think the best college receiver I've seen in quite some time. But they're going up against a defense that does not give up points. And I just think that we don't need to overthink it when we look at the capabilities of a Kirby Smart coached Georgia defense with 3.5 weeks to prepare. I'm going to pick with the defense in that game. And the reason that I go under instead of Georgia spread is that I suspect that Ohio State's defense might come to play as well.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the under. I would prefer Ohio State to cover, honestly. There's been some scattered talk about, just how is Georgia going to hold up just in the secondary against Ohio State's receivers, because the talent is there. And obviously Georgia's talent is there defensively as well. But that seems to be one of the few, I don't know if concerns is the right word, because that's a little too dramatic for a really good defense and the best defense in the country. So we have Michigan and we have Georgia meeting up in the championship. I wanted to ask you guys too, and just for any viewers watching, I sent Alex and Joey a list of about 10 bowl games that are happening in the next couple days. And I said, pick any bowl game you want. Tell me your best bet from them. And if you thought they were in tune with each other to this point, they picked the same exact game. So Alex, I'll start with you. What game did you guys end up picking without talking to each other? Then you guys end up picking the same game.
Yeah, we both have the ReliaQuest Bowl here between Mississippi State and Illinois. I think that I have this at 46 going under. I've really liked unders this bowl season for whatever reason. I see a couple things happening here. Multiple of Mississippi State's best offensive players, better offensive players, a running back, Dylan Johnson, a receiver, Rara Thomas, are out of this game. They are moving on from the program. They're not playing. You look at Illinois' best player by a mile, not even close. Chase Brown, their running back, is not playing in this game. He's off to the NFL. What does Illinois' offense have this year absent Chase Brown? Nothing, zero. So I think that Joe and I, and this will kind of lead into Joe's angle, which is, I think, a bit complementary to mine in a way. Though obviously it's such a close spread that you might not, you could see it going either way. But I just think that between all of the absences here, it feels like there shouldn't be a ton of points in this game. And I think the total should be somewhere lower in the 40s than 46. So let's go low.
All right, Joe, he teed you up perfectly. Let's hear your pick for this game.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of Alex said, just like the other games we've agreed all year. I'm going to roll with Mississippi State money line here at around -110. If -120 is fine too. Both teams have guys out, as Alex said, but the loss of Chase Brown for Illinois is way more important for that team compared to anyone else sitting for Mississippi State. He has been their entire offense this season. He has been one of the best players in the country overall. And while I don't usually like to fade teams with guys out, I feel like other guys will step up and it can influence the line. I simply think this absence of Chase Brown will affect this Illinois offense just a little too much. I don't see them being able to pick up the slack from his ability, from what he's done all season. And then Mississippi State, they also have a solid defense that has forced turnovers, been fairly stout. We saw them play very good against an Ole Miss offense that is high-powered and wants to run the ball, and they had a lot of success in that game. And I just think Mississippi State is overall the more talented team. They've probably played a little bit of a harder schedule. I think they have overall more talent, especially with Chase Brown being out. So I had this lined at closer to -3, -3.5. So to be able to get it at a pick'em without Illinois' best player is a lot of value to me. So I'm rolling with Mississippi State on the money line.
All right, ReliaQuest Bowl, we are coming for you. Alex and Joey, appreciate you guys joining the show. You can see them every single week with Melissa on CFB Today. Their Twitter handles are on the screen as well. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining the show.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I wanted to take a chance to show you a little draft that I did with one Michelle Beadle. We talked about how much crap happened in 2022. Too much, if you ask me. I'd like life to chill down a little bit. But anyway, we decided to draft our top 5, see who has a better starting 5. Let me know what you think. Take a look. Here on the spread with our pop culture analyst, our pop culture expert, our zeitgeist expert, Michelle Beadle. You might know her from FanDuel TV. Michelle, appreciate you hopping back in the expert chair and joining us.
Heck yeah. I'm ready for this. This is all good pop culture right now.
All right. So once we get to the end of the year, everyone likes looking back at their 2022, everything they messed up, their favorite moments as well. Here at OddsChecker, we decided we'll take a page out of Spotify's book. Let's go with our own Wrapped, but not for music. We're going to do it with our favorite pop culture and sports moments of 2022. And Michelle, we're deciding to do a draft for this episode of The Spread. So each of us are going to have our starting 5 of most iconic pop culture or sports moments from this year. And whoever has the best starting 5 gets a gold star. We'll let the internet decide who has the best one. You all set?
I like that. Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'll give you the option here. Do you want the first overall pick, or do you want to snake back around and have picks 2 and 3?
I want to snake back around and do 2.
All right. So I get the first pick. I'm going to go with Will Smith's slap on Chris Rock. The slap heard across the world. This actually ended up being the most streamed video on YouTube. 103 million people watched the original video of that, which is insane. I didn't believe it was true, honestly.
No, you know what? You are not the only one. So many people did. And I just saw Chris Rock do his stand-up. It was real because he goes on for about 10 minutes and it seemed very real. That was iconic for not the best of reasons, but yes.
Yeah. Well, not the best for me. I didn't get slapped. So.
Right? I didn't get slapped on global television. Yeah, that was awkward. Okay, Will Smith. Okay, so does that mean I go next?
So you go next. You have picks 2 and 3.
Okay, for 2 and 3, I'm going. Ooh, okay. Well, you know what? I feel good about this. Number 2, I'm gonna go Pete Davidson, and you're like, Pete Davidson, what? And I'm just gonna say, Pete Davidson is the moment because I can't explain it. I don't have any clear vision as to what exactly it is he does to these women when he puts them in this trance, but he has one of the most beautiful dating resumes of anyone. I mean, he puts Derek Jeter 90s version 2000 to shame. So I'm going to go Pete Davidson as my number 2 moment as a person.
That is a strong pick. That's a strong pick.
I mean, okay. And you know what? That's funny because we're going to go from love stories of the Pete Davidson era to a breakup that was a monster breakup. People seem to be handling it very weirdly. And I'm going to go Tom Brady and Giselle. Giselle may or may not have already moved on. Good for her either way. But that to me is one of the biggest breakups in pop culture history. And this goes back a while. I've been following these damn breakups for quite some time. That one was big.
Yeah, we published odds on OddsChecker for who would be the next girlfriend. We had really interesting names on there. Some of them were just kind of random throw-ins.
Who was the best? Like, who'd you think?
I mean, the most spicy one, the one that I kind of hoped for, was Kim Kardashian, just for the memes. But there were some interesting ones, and there's just the whole Leo DiCaprio thing going on in with celebrities, that you date people 20 years younger. Hope we don't get a repeat of that, but hey, that's just me. I'm not gonna.
It's a real male thing, my friend. It's a real male thing. I get it.
I'd rather not associate myself with that, but that's a story for another time.
Wise, so wise. Okay, all right. I feel good about mine.
All right, so you have Pete Davidson 1, and you have the Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen breakup for 2. For my second pick, I'm gonna go with Wordle. What I had completely forgot about, which completely took over the internet. I forgot that was this year. It has been a long year, Michelle.
That was this year. That's crazy because if you ask me, I mean, I played it every day religiously and then I stopped, but that was this year, wasn't it? God, all right, these years fly by and yet seem to drag on forever. I can't explain it. All right, that's a good one. All those games.
So I have
Wordle. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have.
Did you do Hurdle?
Yeah, I did do Hurdle. I did the whole 9 yards. I did Purtle for a while. I did the one that has the 4 boxes. I was all in, and then I was all out.
They know that. They know our attention spans are. Okay, so you have Wordle.
Yep. So I got my starting point guard with Wordle. I have my enforcer down low with the Will Smith slap. For my third pick, I'm gonna take St. Peter's run in March Madness. I mean, this was insane. As a New York / New Jersey guy, it was just awesome to watch in the area. They came in as a plus 10,000 odds to make the Sweet 16. I mean, it was madness. I got to go with that as my starting small forward.
And that one almost has like validity to it. Like that's a serious one that was enjoyed by a nation. And that also, again, feels like forever ago. March feels like forever ago. Okay, so I'm gonna go with. I'm a little torn here. I'm gonna do the "Don't Worry, Darling" drama here, only because what started out as a story involving Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde that I thought I didn't care about quickly became something I was reading way too much about when Jason Sudeikis, under a car, housekeeper, all that started getting involved. Then and some sort of magic sexy salad dressing. That was it. I was like, all right, I'm in.
Weird
This
times.
has too many things. Yeah, what are we even talking about? I don't know. But that's my third pick for my squad.
Okay, that's strong. Okay.
Also Harry Styles, people love him. He's got that thing too. So I'm gonna go with that.
Something about
it. So I got to do my 4 here, yeah? I like this one because it's a big enough umbrella that I don't have to rehash all of the ridiculous details. I'm just going to call it the Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, period. Because they've been the gift that keeps on, right? They seem to have gotten things under control. Kyrie seems to be content at the moment, and as long as he is, basketball will be played. But my goodness, that gave us a lot. Between 2 seasons, it gave us a lot. So the Nets, period.
I remember having conversations with my friends who also love basketball, and I was like, okay, if they win less than 2 championships, it's a failure, right?
Thank you.
And here we are 37 games later, and
not looking great, but I'm on track. They're on track again, kind of.
Yeah.
For now.
On track works.
Yeah, on track is good enough.
I was gonna take the World Cup next. But that kind of feels like a cop-out just because that's every 4 years. I'm gonna go with the U.S. Open this year. Just everything around it. I'm a huge tennis guy, and just Serena Williams putting on one last run before retiring. Carlos Alcaraz becoming the youngest champion since 1990. Frances Tiafoe kind of lit a whole country on fire for tennis. I mean, that was so cool to watch.
That was a really good one. I mean, I love the U.S. Open anyways, but it had so many storylines going to that. But, of course, Serena's not really retired now, so we'll see how that pans out. That should just be a thing too. Like retiring to unretire is a whole thing by itself. Okay, I have my last one, don't I?
I still get a chance.
Oh yeah, you have yours. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, good.
You're not gonna steal my last one.
I know. I was like, I'm the worst drafter. Okay.
My last one, I'm gonna go with Stranger Things. I've been a Stranger Things fan truther since day one. One of my favorite shows. Just the entire internet just completely getting wrapped up in one season. Everyone watching at the same time. There's just honestly there was nothing like it for me.
It is. It's one of those shows. They almost lost me, I guess, last season. Then this season started, and I could not have been more invested. Like it was so good. As a 47-year-old, I was just like, this is creepy and gory and scary, and I'm 100% back. So it's so good. It's funny that you did that because I was thinking of shows too that sort of just uprooted society, and we were all talking about it. And this is where my timing gets off. Squid Game. That's my one. Although I feel like that is within this calendar year, yeah?
I believe so.
Right at the beginning? Oh god, it has to be.
For the sake of the argument, I'm gonna give you Squid Game as your number 5.
Because I had friends watching that never watch anything, don't care about anything, don't know anything about pop, and they were all in. So for a show to do that, I was just like, and in a different language, and as Americans, we're usually pretty ignorant. We don't want to read. I'm not talking about myself. It was nice to see people embrace just something different. Loved it.
Yeah, it was. Speaking of shows that just had a complete stranglehold, that was definitely up there. Okay, so we have our top 5 on the screen. Let us know if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching us. Let us know in the comments what you think. Who you think got the top 5 picks here? I don't know. I feel pretty good about my starting 5, but Michelle's giving me a run for my money, I think, here.
A gold star is at stake, people. This is serious.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here. She's Michelle Beadle from FanDuel TV. I'm Matias Weilmann. We will catch you same time, same place next week. That's going to do it for this edition of The Spread. Appreciate everyone hopping on, from Michelle to Alex to Joey to Slop. We want to wish you all from the OddsChecker team a very happy new year. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't go too crazy. And we will talk to you in the new year. We're going to have tons to get to: soccer, college football, NFL's wrapping up, NBA, MLB's around the corner eventually. I know we got a while to go, but it's all coming up on The Spread. We'll talk to you next week and in 2023. Till then, stay safe and hope you're in the green this weekend.